we are here and we are really excited about talking about fair share. You've heard it on so many different platforms, and we are here today to really explain what it is. My name is Eileen Carter. I am the social media manager for the City of New Orleans, and we're going to hit a couple of topics, just some housekeeping things to give people some time to kind of get on live, Mayor.
Okay.
That's okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know we have one of your favorite things, Clean Up NOLA.
Got to clean the city up.
And
Absolutely.
we have launched our new website. It is cleanupnola.org. That's cleanupnola.org. They're cleaning tips, recycling, city services, and how to get involved. We've had so many of the residents ask, what can they do? Well, you can get involved, and you can go to cleanupnola.org. Additionally, we launched routewise.nola.gov yesterday. NOLA
Yes.
Ready did that.
Yes.
And I know that you've been excited about this because it gives a lot of people information. It's an easy way to track large events in New Orleans, like parades and marathons, from the beginning to the end. You can find public restrooms, which lots of people will.
It's a big deal. First aid stations, which is huge, always public safety. Lost child, lost children, which has really proven to be effective. And the city wants to know not only where our kids are, but how can we help? How can we help our residents and even our visitors as well?
And last but not least, text Mardi Gras, and that is one word, to 888-777. It is a wonderful new tool. The mayor is really about meeting people where they are in digital equity, and there are more people with a phone. So she has let all the departments know that she wants to make sure we reach them. So NOLA Ready will send you carnival weather, safety, traffic, and parade updates directly to your phone.
Yeah.
So they can text 888-777. You can text Mardi Gras, one word, to 888-777. So hopefully that's given people enough time to kind of get on live with us. We are discussing fair share today, Mayor.
We are, and you all have heard me talk about fair share quite often and here recently. And really what it's about is making sure that New Orleans, in every way, that we're using our revenue wisely, that we're not leaving money on the table, and that we're getting our fair share based on what is generated right here in the city of New Orleans, and also based on what is then reinvested back into the city. And so we've been here almost 9 months, going on 9 months. Seems longer than that, with the with the long period of me being mayor-elect. And so, but now being mayor, we have been able to take a deeper dive into various departments, look at ways to where we may be leaving money on the table. Some examples could be, we're about to, and we're hiring up auditors that will be in revenue so that we can conduct our own audits out in the community in terms of our businesses, making sure that the receipts, and particularly cash receipts, are being recorded properly, and that the city is therefore getting her fair share based on what the revenue that's brought in by a particular business. We know that we're a destination city. We know that we have many cash-only businesses, and we love our businesses. But again, accountability matters, and we need to set the tone that the city of New Orleans is not only engaged, but we are holding everyone accountable, even ourselves. But we need to make sure the revenue that is supposed to come to the city does, and also revenue that doesn't. Let's rethink how those dollars are used and spent, and are they used to the best of their ability as it relates to improving our daily quality of life. Infrastructure, for example. You've heard me talk about the taxes in terms of hospitality, taxes on the hotel, food and beverage that the city gets, particularly in terms of the occupancy tax. We get 1.5%, so 10% on every dollar, which brings in a little over $15 million a year. But when you talk about the city generating, and really the businesses in that industry generating hundreds of millions of dollars, then the city should get her fair share, that so we can make sure that our residents, as well as our visitors, but our residents, have drinking water that we know that's safe and reliable, that they can live in their homes and know that they're being protected even from flood water. We know that we're a community that floods, and therefore we have to make sure that we're investing in infrastructure to keep our people safe. We also have to be able to operate in terms of sewage and water board. We currently owe vendors $40 million based on work that they've done, but cash flow just isn't there. We have a failed infrastructure in terms of sewage and water board that needs reinvestment. We need to get off of creating and generating our own power to working with partners like Entergy. Because right now we're spending 4 times the amount generating our own power source, and we could be saving millions of dollars that can go into drainage, fixing our pipes, fixing our streets, potholes, you name it, lights, transportation. All of that is infrastructure. And so I'm not picking on any one industry, and this is a part of why we're wanting to share with you this afternoon.
Because fair share is across the board.
It's across the board. We're finding things like one example is that you have delivery companies in the city, whether that is, I'll pick on FedEx. We love FedEx. But if FedEx gets a parking ticket, they should pay it. Just like residents have to pay, residents are being booted, residents are, having to pay these fines. And absolutely, if a delivery company isn't abiding by the law and they're getting a ticket, then they should pay it. But we're seeing $23 million the city hasn't collected as it relates to these tickets. So again, accountability, but this is money that we're due that we should receive and be reinvested right back into the city. One other issue came about where we found that the city had, in terms of our land on LaSalle Street, where that land has been developed into Champion Square, which is great. And we're holding the Superdome, the LSCD, they're holding, events and concerts. All of it is great. But New Orleans, the city, should get what she deserves based on the use of her land. We've received not $1 from the land. So I'm asking for a lease agreement so that the city can at least get what she deserves annually off of the land that we've allowed to be developed as Champion Square. Another example, we found that insurance companies aren't paying the city her fair share based on EMS or ambulance arriving and transporting, patients, transporting residents, whether to the hospital. Well, where they're insured, the companies aren't remitting that payment to the city. And we're seeing it's millions of dollars that are going uncollected or remitted to the city from insurance companies. So in every way, we're looking to make sure that we are collecting revenue and that we're able to reinvest those dollars back into the city, therefore improving your daily quality of life. And so, and the city is looked upon and say, hey, why aren't potholes being filled? Why are catch basins not being cleaned? What about the lighting? Even affordable housing. Well, we need more dollars coming back into the general fund so that we can do a better job of providing those services. But going even further than that, by request, I asked the New Orleans City Council to create an infrastructure and maintenance fund, in which they did. Good job, Council. So that this is not a way where the city is asking for more revenue so we can do whatever we want, go into the general fund and slush fund. No, we're saying that it goes towards infrastructure and maintenance, because we know that we've seen a lot of development, more development that needs to occur, but we also have to maintain our schools, we have to maintain our libraries, we have to maintain our courts, we have to maintain City Hall, sewage and water board. Where people are seeking services, they should be in facilities that are of quality, because it's a reflection of who we are as a people and as a city.
Absolutely. And this conversation is so necessary, because I think people were just laser focused on fair share as just the tourism industry or just tax rededication. And it's so much more than that.
Yes, it's so much more than that. But at the same time, we do have to look at where those larger dollars are going. that the entities are really not accountable to the public. And what I mean by that, there's no one elected. At least as mayor, I'm elected. So I'm accountable to you all. And you can call me out on that. The city council elected. You can come to the council meetings. You can advocate. And you can hold us accountable. The council has to approve the budget that therefore I use to operate and run the city. There's built-in accountability. But when this doesn't happen and boards get to determine where those dollars go that are generated off of the backs of our people here, it's unfair, and we should be able to, one, not only in deciding, but also the accountability. And we have to get away from public money going into organizations even that aren't accountable to the people. So
you have listed an array of different ways that we are touching fair share. So I would love for you to delve into a little bit more of procurement and contracts. Mm-hmm. I know that's one that, people have had some rumbling about, over social media and different avenues. Can you please give us a little bit of information on how we're going to get our fair share in that regard?
No, I will. And that's taken a real focus within the administration about how not only contracts are awarded, but, who gets the opportunity. And what we have found is that the process, there wasn't really a process. I mean, in terms of you have your leaders around the table looking to make sure that the respondents are adhering to our DBEs, our disadvantaged business requirements of 35%. But that's one part of it. But what we have found is that, multiple entities have been given the opportunity when others who are just as they have the capacity and they have the skill set may have been overlooked. And so it's taking us some time, which is necessary, to ensure that there's a system and a structure in place that truly gives everyone a fair opportunity to work on behalf of the city. And also do a good job. Because this isn't just about getting the contract if you're not being fair and rendering quality services, to the city. This is our money. And so we have found, I say, hey, some have been awarded contracts and you're like, okay, where's the project management that we were assured on the front end, that we found as we've taken over that there's been no accountability there. And this has to, we've had to change this, and also call in the presidents of these companies and say, look, we found you people kind of laying on hammock somewhere. There's been no accountability. The job isn't been done right. We're having to go back and redo, the same street 3 and 4 times if we do it right the first time. And so this is something that we'll continue to not only discuss, but we will soon be rolling out with the construction and engineering community about how this process has been reshaped, how they can participate in and know that they're getting a fair shake, and also what bids are going out, so that it's really transparent about what opportunities are out there for others to work for the city of New Orleans. So it's a lot, but we've had to take these 9 months to dig deeper and be honest about what we have also found and where the red tape has been, and not creating a workaround, but really making sure that you're cutting the tape, but you're creating a system that is sustainable. And it can be frustrating, but it will be better. I just want to say that. It's going to get better, and we're working on it.
And talking about creating systems, you created the Office of Transportation, your office, which didn't exist before you were here. And so you were trying to make sure that the residents of New Orleans get their fair share in that regard as well. Can you elaborate?
Well, in regards to transportation, as you mentioned, there's a real need there in terms of the disparity, access to jobs, and opportunity areas, and because of the Office of Transportation, and it's ran by our director, Laura Bryant, who is also on the RTA board, and the RFP for The RTA in managing it is now out on the street. So those who are interested, please take a look and also respond. But it's building in the accountability that's necessary, and also making sure that we're not paying too much for the services that we're asking to be rendered. But because of the Office of Transportation, we have been able to expand lines, Claiborne, for example, even looking at Broad Street, the accessibility even to our residents who are living in New Orleans East, Algiers, restructuring the terminal contract for the ferry terminal. But it's something that we're excited about. Final mile, even we've gotten over $2 million to come up with not only a mobility plan, in which we do have, but the implementation of that mobility plan is important.
Wow. And I'm kind of really excited about some of these. Of course, this is my area a little bit. Digital equity, meeting people where they are. There are more people who have a telephone than internet access. And so I know that we've done a lot with regard to that as well.
Well, we know still that 66% of our residents are just disconnected. They do not have access to the internet. And we've also done the mapping, like where they live and where the disparities are the greatest. And what we found is even New Orleans East has the greatest digital divide. And because of that, we're concentrating our resources there in the East. The New Orleans Public Library there, the resources in terms of bridging that gap for our residents, it's happening. We're even, as it relates to working with businesses, to have access, again, restaurants like McDonald's, trying to, and working with them, and they are actually amenable to it, giving our people access to the internet there. But it's indeed a work in progress, but it's going to be through our libraries, through our businesses, and also through the city creating those linkages to therefore disrupt the divide.
And a lot of people have really noticed the outreach with regard to digital access, because my position didn't even exist previous.
No, it didn't.
And the information that we're able to reach people and to touch people at is a larger scale.
No, it's true, and you do a great job. I think having a social media manager was not only the right thing to do, but that is also touching the digital divide and how we communicate, with our residents, how we interact with them and want to hear even from them. So where the communication is not one way, but it's two-way, and that's healthy. And even if you get something, some responses that you may not like, but it doesn't matter. If it's good information and it gets us straight, in a way that we can be better accountable and meeting our people where they are, then it's worth it. So open it up to your people, because they are the world's greatest experts on where they live and also what their needs are. And we care about that, and we want to hear, because we really do want to make things better. So it's not a smoke and mirror, like it's real. And so you do a great job, Eileen. I just want to say that to you, because everywhere I go, they always make comments about, and residents, about how they feel like they're getting more information than ever before, and they can trust the information that they receive. And that's the biggest piece, because we're not here to hide and make people feel a certain kind of way. That's not real. We want to be honest, and that's the best exchange.
And along those lines, you have been going across the city, educating the residents on this park millage. I know they will be going throughout the city through February 25th. You actually have a meeting tonight for District C. Explain what this park millage is, because it will go up for a vote on May 4th.
It will, and this is also, I would say, tied to fair share. It's the Audubon Park millage, which is up for renewal, but we're looking at it differently. So not just it benefiting Audubon Park and the aquarium, we're opening it up, and as it's been for Park and Parkways, NORD, our recreation department, and even City Park, now being able to share in an equitable way the distribution across the board with Audubon, with Nord, and with Park and Parkways, and now City Park even getting the first time ever, if passed, some public dollars that will be reinvested in City Park, but in a way to where City Park will now capture its rainwater. You know, that it flooded heavily in the area there. And if we're learning how to live with water and capturing it and keeping it from entering our drains, that will free us up, free the drains up, so that it will prevent ultimately our neighborhoods from flooding and our homes will be safe. And so we need to do more of this across the city, as we are, but it's a big deal for City Park and even Audubon. Audubon will now be required to capture that rainwater. But what's also exciting is that the dollars will not be limited to just the Audubon Zoo and the aquarium. It will go to 10 different sites that are operated by Audubon throughout the city of New Orleans, like our nature center is another area, and we need that. But we also need the reinvestment in Park and Parkways that manages our public spaces, our green areas in the city. This will allow them an additional $1 million that will be able to hire up in terms of forestry. Our urban canopy is at risk. And this is also tied to flood mitigation. North Sea, there are countless programming opportunities that we want to expand upon that also not only benefit our young people but our seniors, you know, as well. This is not a new tax. This is not a new tax, but this is a new way of being able to use revenue that's generated, that a millage that you already pay, but it will be used in an equitable way to improve your quality of life. And this is how we have to do things in our city. Not the same folks getting the money and doing what they want to do with the money, but making sure that they're listening and connected to the people so that we all can win, so that we all can benefit. And I think Audubon, and really it's leadership for thinking differently. But this was the only way that I was going to support it, is if we show people that we really do mean what we say when we talk about equity. And we have to challenge ourselves to do things differently. And this is the first time ever, you know, this is happening in the city. And that means that it can happen with these other entities that get revenue generated in the city, but do not come through city government to therefore help me and city government meet your needs where you live, like infrastructure, like sewer, like water, like drainage. And also, look, we're being honest based on what we found, and that is, and this has been going 80 years plus, the water that we're using to cool our turbines, though, that's the same water that's coming out of our faucets. This has to change, and it's going to cost money to do it, but now is the time. But we can't tax our way out of it. You know, our residents are already, they're already stretched.
We taxed out.
And even with sewage, we raised the rates there in 2013, so every year they're going up, so the people are already paying. So how do we at this time redirect revenue that's currently being generated to meet our needs before we go back to the people and ask them to do more? You know, so, and it's not just looking at, I mean, it's across the board. Everyone needs to put some skin in the game. And there's a way that we can get there together without attacking one industry, one organization, because it's a win for all of us. And it's good common sense, and it's great business sense. We want to play to our strengths. We had 18 million visitors come through us and to us over the past year.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
And 404,000 people who live here. But that amount can't sustain 18 million.
Right.
You know, but that's who's generate. We have to do better, and we can. So I want people to remain hopeful that we can do this. But timing is everything, and now is the time. I'm convinced of it. And my goal is to come to an agreement and consensus with the governor, with the industry, of course with the city and the city council, to where we can announce our unified plan to fix infrastructure in the city before the legislative session. And I think that will make for a better legislative session and show that we truly are united about what needs to happen in this city relative to infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Because when toilets flush in New Orleans, everybody wins. Because when they don't, our businesses lose, and we lose, residents lose, and we need to get away from the boil water advisories, but we cannot get away from it if the infrastructure isn't improved, and we're not going to hide anything from you. So they will come. If the pressure drops and we need to notify the public, we will do that because we have to, and we have to be safe. But just know that there's not a day that goes by that I'm not laser focused on this matter, because we can get there.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor, I want to thank you for your time and kind of laying out and really explaining fair share to us. And letting us really understand that it's an umbrella. And these are just a couple of items. I know it's across the board and stuff that you continue to find. So we will continue to have these and be educating our residents on how the mayor is working to get our fair share.
Absolutely. And I just need you to stand with me. Stand with the administration. I'm all in. I know that this is the right thing to do. There's no doubt about it. But I can't do it alone. And it's going to be the will of the people that gets us our fair share. So stand tall, stand firm, but know that we're doing the right thing. We're on the right side of this. And when we see, and really not we, but when the industry like hospitality sees over $200 million annually, and 70% of that goes to 4 entities that are not accountable to the people, and they're saying no, hey, it's time to say yes. Yes to the city, yes to infrastructure, yes to our viability and sustainability. Anyway, I can go on and on and on because I believe in what I'm saying. And I believe in you, and I believe in what you deserve. And now is the time. So stand with New Orleans, stand with New Orleans. And I'm your mayor, and I'm so proud to be your mayor every single day. And just love to you and your family.
So thank you so much, and join the hashtag FairShare.